as we know Cloud9 to be a stronger team than what happened to them in game one. It seems like just maybe a little bit of drafting issues and also just being run over in that laning phase was too much for them to handle. We'll see if a different draft in game two can give them better options. Gods, it looks like Cloud9 are already taking some time to think about the just first couple of bans, which for the most part has been very automatic for the teams. That for me is a little bit concerned because they're like, what do we actually ban here? Do we still ban away the Coddle? Looks like they're going to opt to ban away the Lone Druid this time around, which means what's left now?
Yeah. The Slaughter, okay, yeah. It's nice to see a series with less Slaughter at least, now with a ban on that, but I think Cloud9 were a bit slow to start the second game, so perhaps the slow draft is just one of their players needing or wanting a bit more time, and they're just like, all right, just pick a bit slower, and we'll take a bit of a breather after getting stomped as badly as they did. Jumping right into the next game with no break whatsoever doesn't really seem like the best approach after losing in such one-sided fashion. I mean, after losing in any fashion, you lose a long, grueling game, it's the same thing. You want to kind of take that breather, settle down, and kind of be like, okay, let's go to the next game now with a clear head.
What is this? Crystal Maiden first pick. That's an interesting choice, which is going to leave Team Liquid apparently with a wisp.
Just something different, I think, is what I take away from this than anything. Cloud9 is like, all right, let's mix things up, pick a different type of support, something that can be a bit greedy if you want to jungle at it. Does have a bit more laning presence than what we saw last game, and also will keep Liquid fully guessing as far as what Cloud9 are going into. Based on it, I mean, it's a Crystal Maiden. You're not going to counter a Crystal Maiden with your draft, that's for sure. So Liquid will just pick to their own strengths and go back to the Weaver once again.
And I feel like the Weaver would have been a decent hero for Cloud9 as the second pick as well to work with the Crystal Main, but instead Cloud9 immediately pick up the Hester Joe Enigma, which we saw yesterday or the day before from them, right? Where
yeah, 2 games in a row, in fact. And after those games, he had a great tweet. He said, "First time I've played this Enigma, seems OP." So I was like, all right. I'm watching him play. This is like, all right, it's like something Cloud9's played in scrims. They like to 5-man around. They do really. It seems Hester knows just how to play this in lane. And then I see that tweet and just start laughing. I'm like, all right, he's found a new hero he's good at.
I was inspired by Hester Joe. Yesterday we were playing the Battle Cup and Fear drafted us an Enigma off lane, and it does feel pretty good. I have to say, like, solid laning phase. You just keep on denying the range creep, so the lane pushes into you. If it's a tough lane, you can just go jungle with those Eidolons, wait for the wave to push into you. If you actually get a successful block on like the easy camp or even the hard camp, and keep those camps blocked, it feels like the lane is just going to be total freeform for Enigma at all times. It seems like you have to have very active supports to be able to deal with this offlane Enigma and the farm he's going to naturally get.
Yeah, and that's Hester was getting both the best of both worlds. He was farming the lane, denying the range trips, and then also farming the jungle. Like, he'd farm both jungle camps, pick up the banner rune, and then go to the lane as the wave got to his tower to farm like a couple of creep waves. So the mech timing with Arcane Boots was ridiculous, and we'll see what Liquid have in mind to try and stop or pressure it, whether it's going to be trying to pressure the tower a bit more since the creeps are being pulled back towards it, having early rotations to block some of those Enigma camps around that off-lane secret shop. They need to get up in the Enigma's face, or they need to win some of the other lanes.
Let's see, Necrophos going to be taken away from Team Liquid once again, as well as the Rubik Disruptor Viper banned away by Liquid. One of Baby Knight's specialties, that mid Viper would have been one of the better heroes against the potential Wisp dual lane, right?
Yeah, and I think you're just like, let's not give him a comfort hero that he can quote-unquote cheese us with a bit. I mean, you kind of just go for those early stat items, get a fast Dragonlance, Treads, Mantle, whatever it may be, and just start pushing down towers as we've seen Cloud9 do a few times. So it looks like more similar to what Cloud9 were doing yesterday with this draft. At least that's what Liquid's expecting as well, based on the Viper ban. See what kind of substitute mid-hero they consider for him. The Sniper's still in the pool. That's something Baby Knight's always played a lot of if they want to go into some kind of like Ogre Sniper type draft. But plenty of options. It's still a very open pool as far as that's concerned.
Yeah, Team Liquid not really locking anything down either with their Vengeful Spirit pickup, as some additional minus armor is welcome from a support position if you do have a core Weaver, and simultaneously this could still be a safe lane Vengeful Spirit and turned into a very aggressive push lineup for Liquid. We'll have to wait and see. Cloud9 have their opportunity to respond. What's left? What's left? Dazzle's still out there in the pool, but not sure if it really fits for Cloud9.
Dazzle CM seems kind of lackluster, right? We've seen a lot of these 4-position Dazzles like today and yesterday where the hero just gets some good farm and it has a greater impact. So, I mean, it's not completely out of the picture. They've already got the kind of heal and sustain from the Enigma, so perhaps they look for something with a bit more utility. Not sure what that's going to be. The obvious choices, the Earth Spirit, the Slaughter, both being banned out, so you're a bit more limited there.
They picked up their Bane in their DAC match, right? What do you remember what that was matched up against?
Synderen played a Bane. Did Cloud9 also? I can't recall. I'm not saying you're wrong there. I totally do not remember.
Oh wow, Bounty Hunter. Huh.
Okay. More active 4-position. Not quite like the disruptive 4-position I expect in the sense like he's going to be initiating, but he disruptive in a very different way, but a very effective way.
Yeah. I'm wondering how much this Bounty Hunter, maybe this is something they've done before against Wisp. I wonder how well the Bounty Hunter disrupts the Wisp, because we know he's going to pick up an early bottle, and he's going to move around between lane to lane. He's going to try and grab these bounty runes for the constant sustain that he can lend to mostly the mid lane, but some of the other lanes as well. And maybe Bounty Hunter can actually stay ahead of that. Maybe Bounty Hunter can actually counter that laning phase presence. We'll have to see. Naga Siren, 4th pickup for Team Liquid, though.
Yeah. The other nice thing is just finding the eye. Often he's behind enemy lines, but being able to just get in deep and get your team vision can help solve that IO problem where you're trying to initiate on someone, they're just constantly getting tethered up, overpowered, and then relocate it out if they need. So we'll see. You kind of want like a gap closer to go with that if that's the case, which Cloud9 would have to get for out of their mid or the carry, and that's exactly what they get. Here we go.
Now we've got a real game on our hands here.
Yeah, this is good. This is going to be fast-paced from Cloud9, and that's something which this is like the complete opposite of their last game. Meepo, you're looking to end the game by 25 minutes, typically. At least the way the Meepo's currently played with like the Treads, Double Dragon Lance, get a Blink Dagger, and then, yeah, just snowball from there. I like Meepo against Naga, too. I feel like the pace of the game with Meepo can punish a Naga pick.
Yeah, you definitely come online about the time that Naga Siren's picking up that Radiance, and Meepo just starts taking over the whole entire game and the whole entire map from there. Naga Siren's going to struggle to successfully push out and get that next round of items without just only illusion spamming. So,
and no AoE, no team fight. Like, what is the Meepo counter? Like, against Meepo, you either want like single target burst damage or ideally AoE stuns and control, and that's two things Liquid have 0 of currently.
Yeah, what do they pick up here? There's not too many options.
Yeah, I'm not sure. Sven is like one of the past Meepo counters, but
maybe they turn this Naga Siren
with the Naga.
What if they turn the Naga Siren into a support though and run Vengeful Spirit as the core? How does that change that?
Carry,
is that possible?
And then pick a mid. Yeah, I think it's possible. I guess they're likely looking for a mid, and then that just means they're playing at a faster tempo by swapping the Ven to the Naga. So doesn't change what their last pick necessarily is going to be, but I think that may suit them a bit more, because I think this Enigma is just going to free farm away in the off lane, either through the jungle or the lane itself, get a really fast mech, and then if you need a pipe or a Crimson Guard, you get that, and then suddenly you're 5-manning with this really scary Meepo and this Enigma who just provides this incredible teamfight presence, and Liquid don't have a good answer for that, and that's where the Venge core seems to fit quite well. Smart Tinkerband, that would have actually been one of the more disruptive heroes for the Meepo in his laning stage, as well as the overall game plan of Cloud9, where you hit this timing, and that's where Tinker maybe has Boots of Travel's Blink and can actually defend some of those pushes and keep away from you. So both teams looking for mids. Baby Knight, what is the hero of choice?
Invoker's still out there, but I was actually feeling Queen of Pain maybe for Liquid because I did feel like they needed a
so was
faster
I.
tempo. But
Yeah.
okay, Cloud9 going to take it from them.
What do they want? Shadow Fiend, perhaps? Maybe that takes. I mean, Shadow Fiend with Naga. If you're doing Shadow Fiend, you're doing. You want to do that with a Naga core. I mean, they did do that the other day, but I don't think this Cloud9 draft lets you get away with it the way the NIP draft let you get away with that, because this draft will take towers and really push fast.
So SF or let's see, there's Sniper and Invoker. If we're running a Vengeful Spirit core, if we're running a Naga Siren core, we want something really fast, don't we? Something quick tempo.
The Puck, perhaps.
Puck's the only hero I could think of.
I mean, there's like a kind of intermediate one, which is like the OD. It's not exactly fast paced, but it's also not too greedy. Otherwise, you're looking at some maybe like gimmicky, completely out there mid laners that you just wouldn't normally expect.
Yeah. I can only think of like, if it's Naga Siren core, I can literally only think of Puck that I feel okay about. Oh, Tiny.
There's the gimmicky type mid where you go something completely different, something snowbally, something that with burst damage, kill potential on Meepo, and I think this is Liquid like this Meepo. I think this Meepo pick like straight up outdrafted them, but now this is putting Miracle in a position where he can potentially outplay Cloud9 by being on this Tiny. So, and also I think it's a great hero for against Meepo too. But I think if Cloud9 play their draft right, they have the draft advantage.
Yeah, Queen of Pain should be able to come out on top on the mid matchup. He does have to deal with a Wisp, but he does have a Bounty Hunter, so it's kind of dependent on the Bounty Hunter and how impactful he is in disrupting the Wisp strategy. We're gonna have Enigma, who should just be able to free farm, no matter which one is core support. I don't think that's really too much of a problem here for him. So we're gonna have fast mech, fast sustain items, maybe even an early blink dagger as well. Everything looks pretty good here for Cloud9 in this draft in game number 2.
Yeah, the Meepo pick, for the most part, has been one of their go-to successful heroes. Most teams are actually first stage banning it against Cloud9. That's what we saw in both games yesterday, I believe. So it has been a go-to throughout WESG. They were playing it quite a bit, so definitely see this as a comfort draft for C9. I mean, the Enigma is a new hero they've been running, but they have 2 wins quickly with it, and I like how the hero pairs up with Meepo. Perhaps you need to go for an earlier blink to be able to keep up with the Meepo. Like I'd like to see like a mech into blink before you go for like that pipe Crimson Guard secondary defensive item. But Queen of Pain works well with the Meepo. Like you've got very active, aggressive core heroes, and Bounty Hunter to scout things out, be a nice kind of visionary hero. So I think this C9 draft works very nicely together.
So what does Liquid have to do? I mean, we obviously know Miracle's got a snowball, right? And GH is going to be a big part of that. What about the side lanes here? What do, well, Naga Siren's just got to farm. What does Kuro have to do in this game? What does Mind Control have to do in this game to inhibit Cloud9's clear progression in the tempo that they're going to have in this game?
Yeah, I think Mind Control is perhaps the one player who can really step it up and cause problems. If he can be very annoying and disruptive with the supports, keep them busy, make sure that the other lanes can have a better time because the CM, the Bounty Hunter, preoccupied with the Weaver down bottom. I think that's where Liquid can perhaps try and make things swing their way. We may see like an early surprise rotation from like Kuro or GH towards that bottom lane, where Mind Control tries to bait in some aggression, then you turn it around using like a tether or using just a smoked up Vengeful Spirit Sing behind him. So I think this Liquid offlane is where they can look to be disruptive. Alternatively, they may just decide it's a lane that they're going to struggle in too much, but I'd like to see Mind Control get aggressive. He's got the double regen, Tango Salve on the career, so he's going to be playing to stay in this lane and have as much presence as possible.
Yeah, you know, I like that idea quite a bit, Gods. In fact, I would like it even more if Kuro actually, because I'm not sure how well his time is going to be spent up at that top lane. If Hesta Joe is playing relatively back, and then later on at the levels, he starts getting those high levels of demonic conversions, supports can't actually fight into that. So maybe his time is better spent in the bottom lane, facilitating Mind Control's aggression and putting more pressure there. And that could even potentially turn into a tri-lane at times. With the Wisp moving around with this bottle could absolutely tether in and help Liquid get even more aggressive against the Meepo early on.
Yeah, this is one of those games where I don't see the Radiance timing of Naga Siren necessarily being the deciding factor. Like, Matu should be, even if he's not getting much help against Enigma, once he has his Arcane Boots, he falls back to the jungle, farms up his jungle, and will just play defensively. We'll see him get either a 16-minute Radiance, if he gets some support perhaps. If he doesn't get much support, maybe it's an 18, 19-minute one, but that to me is not a problem. The problem's going to be this Meepo and how fast tempo he's going to set. So helping out the other lanes is going to be much more to Liquid's benefit. And that's exactly what Kuro's already doing. He's setting up in the trees, maybe expecting like an early CM poke and harass. And if CM tries to harass and zone mind control, suddenly Bench comes out and you found yourself an early first blood for Liquid.
And if
With
CM...
that said, Rise is like, he's just strong.
Yeah. If CM doesn't show and they get the right kind of block here, which mind control is doing an okay job of, they might be able to get a lot of damage onto the Meepo as well. Baby Knight's pushed back from there. We're going to see Ace be gone on here pretty shortly by Kuro. You're going to see the early poof being used.
Yeah, Kuro's waiting for a CM to show up, I think. But once CM doesn't, I think they're likely, like you say, just go for the harass. Like, you may take it.
Yeah,
Even
like
goes for the swarm early on. Ace will take a lot of damage to this.
Yeah, that was smart. I thought maybe they were going to wait for level 2 just to be able to have the swarm, but I think you're right. They're waiting out the CM, and if CM doesn't show, then why can't mind control get level 1 swarm?
Yep.
Mid, Baby Knight in a little bit of trouble. Can't quite get the distance for the toss. Still tries to get it. They're actually dancing around Miracle and GH quite nicely, but Noya, he's too scared to go for the kill on GH. He knows that Tiny's going to be able to respond, so he instead just says damage done, and we'll call it at that. The two of them are actually going to shrine up together, so Liquid will be full HP once again. Get it. Run away, Noya. All right, he's good. He's good. He kills the counter wards. Maintains presence in this lane once again.
I mean, that's a great start for C9. Liquid use their shrine very early on. They get one singular CS on the Tiny. So Baby Knight with 8 CS, 3 denies is winning that battle so far. That'll change as Miracle gets some alone time and gets a creep wave to himself now. But this mid lane, I like what Noi has done to help stabilize this rough IO Tiny lane.
Not only is Vengeful Spirit, who's currently going to be gone on by Noya and Rise, they might actually be able to get this kill. The help of GH, though, will put a stop to that. I thought maybe with the Orb of Venom, Ace, he's actually going to be able to get the net. There it is. With the poof, they should be able to finish off Kuro, and that will be your first blood for Ace. Maybe a second blood. GH does have a tether up. Help me, Miracle, he says. He's good. He's away.
I mean, I talk about Meepo being fast-paced. I don't expect a 2 minutes level 3 Meepo to rotate mid, but that's exactly what he just did.
Yeah, certainly not. Mind Control even tried to come over and see if he could get one of the supports, but all of Cloud9 staying grouped up together. Nice rotation.
How's our top lane going? Looks like the straight up 1v1. I think that's what we talked about. Matu will get denied a bit here, but realistically, Avenger's not going to be able to zone out or stop Enigma doing what he's going to do. So they just give Matu a straight 1v1. He's actually winning the CS battle so far.
Yeah, he gets the early PMS, has high armor, and then he has the Riptide in the way to affect those Eidolons too for extra CS. So he really shouldn't have too many issues in a 1v1. Yeah,
he can really get up and then the Eidolons' faces and threaten to kill them quite easily. One of the better heroes to kill Eidolons with. They don't take too much. Like the physical damage is much better for killing them than magic damage. The 50% magic resistance on them is not the most effective way. So lowering their armor, magic damage from Riptide, but lowering their armor for the right clicks at least.
Tried to catch mind control there. Dropped the counter ward. Looked for the frostbite. If they got that, then they'd be able to get the follow-up Earthbinds and poofs to finish off the Weaver. But he barely gets out with the Shukuchi. Kuro's back up now at top lane, seeing if he can maybe get a quick kill on Hesta Joe, though I am doubtful of that.
Yeah, I mean, no ensnare. I don't even think it's worth getting a pointed ensnare again. It's like,
toss up, turn around. Oh, they just burst down GH, and now Miracle's in trouble. Noya, he has an extra bit of burst damage. He's got the Orb of Venom. Miracle's just hoping for a 4-minute rune. Won't get that much. Is going to look for the Roshan tonight, but can't get there. A Shuriken finishes him off. Baby Knight and Noya are destroying the Tiny Wisp in mid lane.
Yeah, that is a disaster of a lane at this point for Liquid. Baby Knight farming very well, getting some not the best early levels since he's been splitting it, which is not something Queen of Pain necessarily wants to do, but the kills have been fantastic for them. Lane now rises looking for mind control with the double ensnare.
Oh, they got him. Mind control poofed up. Another net. Right click down. Man, I'm surprised he's caught up by that one after he initially dodged the counter ward and frostbite attempt. They actually do find the kill in round 2.
Yeah, it was the invis rune from CM, so
Oh, okay,
got caught by, yeah, it was just a CM like camping on top of him with the invis and didn't have vision of that rune to know it was coming.
Miracle and GH, though, they always have the recovery mechanism. Looks like they're going to go on Baby Knight again. Last time they actually died because of it, but this time around with level 5, they do have the burst damage to actually get that Queen of Pain. Lane is back in their favor, and they even have the neutral creeps to fall back on as well to speed up that farm.
Yeah, he really needs the raindrops against the tiny combo. It blocks a lot of the damage with that toss being negated. It means you're not going to die from full HP of the combo, so... He's queued it up already in his quick buy.
A little bit more concerning. Ace is level 7 on the Meepo, feeling good after that first blood and a decent recovery with the kill on Weavers. So there's also Hester Joe Rotten, who's free farming. Score may be 4-1, but it's much more than that for Cloud9. Hester Joe may be caught or not. Maybe just it's the idle answer dead.
Like, Kuro gets a stun off. There's no way you kill Hester Joe. I feel like Kuro is... He's not achieving anything in terms of posing kill threat. I guess he just wants to get some levels and farm. Like it looks like he's just going for pulls and some stacks here or there maybe. Like he's farming some neutrals, but realistically there is nothing they can do to kill Hester Joe. You're very close to a tower. He can turn Black Hole the Naga with a TP rotation in from like a Meepo, and then suddenly you're looking at turnaround kills. So this top lane doesn't seem like somewhere where Kuro can get done other than farm, which
Miracle
perhaps is fine in itself.
Needs some help. He needs more than just GH. They do have the magic wand. They're going to turn on Baby Knight with the help of Kuro. They may actually be able to claim this 1 kill and turn it into 2. Kuro here with the magic missile gets blocked up a little bit. He doesn't have the mana anyway, so they do get another turnaround kill on Baby Knight. This Queen of Pain just keeps on getting bursted down by the Tiny. The infused range op seems not to be enough for him anymore. He needs the tankier upgrades and treads.
I don't think going on a Tiny who's got the HP pool that Tiny has is not something that you can bring down with Io seeing behind. Perhaps they thought GH was out of the lane, but they just slightly underestimate the Tiny's tankiness there. And the turnaround, like Kuro didn't even throw any spells onto that Queen of Pain. Quap died with or without that TP in really, and that's unfortunate kill to be giving up. With how well the Meepo's doing, and as well as the Enigma, I think Baby Knight doesn't need to go for that kind of aggression. The game is looking in a pretty good state regardless.
Kuro walking back out to the top lane. Do you think his presence, early on in laning phase it seemed to work, but do you think that Meepo's just too strong for Kuro to have a presence in the bottom lane, and that's why he's here at top, spending his time pulling and trying to farm?
At this point, if you want to go to Meepo's lane, you got to bring 3 heroes probably. You've got to bring Tiny for one thing. Like he's the only... Any chance of contesting Meepo's lane involves Tiny. Weaver's just down here trying to put together some semblance of farm. I think Weaver Venge cannot kill Ace, that's for sure. He'll just turn around on them.
Again,
looking for Miracle. I do not know
double damage
about
on
this.
Baby Knight. They think that'll make the difference. They're going to go for GH in the back lines. Baby Knight turns around, one-shots him. He does have Sonic Wave, but the physical damage from Miracle is rapidly threatening him. The toss is coming up. Miracle attempted to go for it with Noya there. Tried to toss him over to the Queen of Pain. Couldn't quite get it. And Baby Knight will survive this time around.
Meanwhile, bottom, it looks like Ace got the solo kill on the Weaver. That was with his third Meepo, so...
Going on a Miracle again. They're also going on top. Baby Knight, can he get this hit? No, the magic wand. He blinks forward and will claim it. That's a big kill. They finally bring him down. Meanwhile, in top lane, they did get Hester Joe with the help of GH, but that also cost Miracle his life very likely. Without the Wisp turnaround, not much Tiny could do.
It does feel like the mid lane from C9 has been playing a bit aggressive, but there it pays off. Like the IoT being top meant that Tiny was well and truly alive, and Baby Knight gets good value out of the end of his double damage rune to find that kill. TP on top, they could go for a black hole, and yeah, Matu knows it. He immediately sleeps before the TP even completes. If he doesn't go for that, he gets Malefist, black hole. I mean, he's probably going to die there, so good defensive play.
On Cloud9, poking at Liquid, it seems, in the right areas here, getting that kill on the Tiny, trying to shut down this combination before they get the big power spike when GH has his level 6, and that's when Ace has to be a little bit more scared. He's level 11 right now with his Treads and Dragonlance. Looks like he's not going to go for the double Dragon Lance this time around, go for the earlier Blink Dagger.
Initially had the second one queued up, but it feels like he can get active. Like, get active around the Enigma mech timing. That's where you get very strong. So having the Blink initiation, I mean, his team doesn't have initiation. That's what the Meepo is meant to be. Queen of Pain doesn't want to go blinking in first in these fights, and we'll see him probably start rotating towards that off lane to pair up with Hestejo, who has taken that top T1 tower.
Just got caught trying to sap all that experience, gets a dust. They'll claim that extra kill. Back over to top lane. Hestejo turns around, gets some damage onto Curl. He will be okay.
Ace with the blink. Ooh. Blinked in on towards mind control. Didn't actually find the ensnare though. And this is danger time for Liquid. The blink has been scouted, so there's no like surprise first blink. I think it would have been maybe a better call to go top with that blink. You know the sleep's on cooldown, and Matu would have no escape from a TP in, blink and snare. That's a dead Naga.
Arcane Rune for Baby Knight. Kuro's low on the back lines, but Miracle is serving as a bodyguard here. And GH will be the medic. Ace is going to try and come in with his Blink Dagger, but Liquid are backing away. They don't actually have... No, they do actually have some decent vision around. Sorry, my bad. These wards are all Liquid wards centered around potential rotations from bottom lane into mid.
Yeah, they were pinging out Ace's position, seem to be aware of it, but it does mean they'll give up this mid-tier 1 tower. So, I mean, for Cloud9, like, you want to be aggressive, find kills, but if Liquid aren't biting, just take those towers and back off. Oh. So, they won't get the last hit. I think Quap thought she had it with that last right click, slightly overestimated her physical damage, but either way, tower still goes down, map control going slightly more in Cloud9's favor.
Hestejo's feeling good about the space that he's been granted. After all this, he's already taken the tower, has mech and arcane runes in his favor. We'll see if he picks up the aforementioned Blink Dagger that we talked about, add a little bit of mobility to this sustain hero to help out the Meepo, and how Cloud9 are going to try and use this Meepo. They're going to keep him farming up for now, or going to try and have some points of aggression in him.
I'd like to see some points of aggression soon. They've got the Enigma ready to go, really. I don't think there's like a blink or a pipe that you're waiting for anything. At least take these like tier 1 bottom towers. And yeah, Enigma's TPing down bottom. They want to push and fight around the mech, as well as this Meepo Blink Dagger.
Yeah, I think Cloud9
really
have to I think they either have to be like 5-manning, or they have to be really active with their Meepo and being the ones ganking, because otherwise you're setting yourself up for these relocate attempts. The tiny Blink Dagger finds a pick off from the CM, and this is why we need to see that 5-man for C9.
The tiny blink is nowhere near as effective as an item when you're 5-manning. It's the same with like the Slack Shadowblade. Like if you start 5-manning down towers, a Slack Shadowblade or a tiny blink is not going to be able to just engage into you. It puts your life in danger. Tiny doesn't even have any escape once he's committed, unless you want to commit like a relocate to pull him out. So it should be pretty straightforward towers to claim at this point. So. The other really good, I think the useful hero they've got for these pushes is Noya on the Bounty Hunter. He can just get in behind these towers. Like, yeah, maybe hero there who'll get caught out by a dust or run into a sentry and die for it, but bottom lane, they found Venge and possibly mind control as well.
Yeah, that track is going to be a big kill. They do have the relocate in. They're going to be able to pop Hestejo despite the mech going down. Now, Noya and Ace may not have the damage together to be able to bring down Miracle, but they could definitely get GH before he can relocate them out. Now the poof forward. Nice play by Ace. Excellent Meepo control. Gets the 1 kill, starts the poof, and blinks forward with his main Meepo to find the primary damage dealer of Team Liquid.
Very nicely done, and there's, yeah, Tiny had to go for the Enigma because that black hole was coming in and wanted to burst. I mean, you've got to focus one target, so the mech, you don't get full value out of it. You don't want to spread that damage. They take the Enigma out, make sure there's no black hole in the picture, but at that point, there's nothing left for the Meepo, so it's really tough for Tiny this game because there's too many threats. Like, you use your combo on a Queen or an Enigma, Meepo's going to recap. You use on the Meepo, then you're potentially not going to kill him, and then Enigma's going to turn it around with a black hole, so... we'll even see Enigma respond to what just happened by picking up a Vitality booster. Just raw survivability is, I think, all the Enigma and Queen of Pain need to go for. I'm a bit surprised to see the Orchid build up. God, Ace.
God damn, Ace.
Havoc. I feel like the Orchid, I don't know, Baby Knight just wants to tank up this game more than anything, personally.
Yeah, I think both Baby Knight and And Hester Joe needs to be able to solve that problem. Hester Joe seems to be on the right point. Not sure about Baby Knight and his choice of the Orchid. Hell, I would feel better about.
Could work for picks, but
yeah. I mean, the Veil of Discord still seems like a powerful item. They're going to go for Miracle here, but misses out on the initial net here. GH, relocate, and long-range tether brings him out just in time. I like that GH played the distance game there, holding on to the relocate and tether for some time, just because he was afraid of Ace actually catching him as he tethered in. They're going to be able to get GH most likely. No, a long-range tether away to Kuro.
Oh, it's somehow. Okay.
And he is out, so they're good. And these kills are all the more important because we can't forget about that track, what Bounty Hunter brings to the table, all that extra gold that Ace is getting when he gets these pickoffs. So.
The Radiance is online, somewhat reminiscent of that game yesterday, a couple days ago from Liquid, where they felt like they were getting beat down badly until they got that Radiance and just turtled up, and that's probably going to be a similar call this game around. Question is, how much damage can Cloud9 do? They're about to pick up an Aegis on the Meepo, and with this Mech Vanguard on Enigma, they have a very potent 5-man push.
Mind Control knows he's thrown the Swarm into the pit, has found Cloud9 doing Roshan, but can Liquid actually contest this? I think they can. They've already got the Aegis in hands, though. Matu holding on to the song. He's going to be able to go for Hester Joe first. Miracle helps him out, lending a helping hand in the toss. We'll be able to finish off that offlaner, take away the sustain, but now Kuro's going to be caught by Ace until the sleep goes down, but Kuro's still going to tick down. Yeah, Shadow Strike is able to finish him off alongside the Meepo's Geo Strike damage. The rest of Liquid's, I thought they were going to full escape here. Miracle's still trying to play around, see if he can get a pick with this Shadow Blade. Noya has spotted him out, though. If he's not careful, he's going to get jumped on. That Blink Dagger is going to get disabled. He turns around, gets a 2-man avalanche. Can they still catch him with the Shuriken? Again, binding them more time. Now C9 has caught him. Ace is on top of him. Will manage to pick up that kill and pull the rest of the Meepos back.
Yeah, he even preemptively TP's home, knowing that he probably wants to heal up, ready for the Enigma respawn to try and take some more objectives on the map. They want to just keep on going, running at Liquid before this Naga becomes too much of a problem. And right now with the sleep on cooldown, it's very difficult for Matu to get involved in a fight. Cloud9 may not even have to go for all the tier 2s and tries. They could theoretically threaten to go for that high ground play fairly soon. They've got level 3 Meepo ultimate, and they're about to pick up that first Ethereal Blade. That's where there's a big boost in Meepo's right-click damage, especially onto buildings. With double Dragon Lance, Ethereal Blade, buildings melt to this Meepo.
Just going to chop him down. Team Liquid don't have too many options, but he's split pushing. Top. Weaver's not going to be caught underneath that tower. Nets all around, but Mind Control away into the trees. Should be good. Another Shikuchi, and yeah, Ace is giving up that hunt. Miracle.
There's no Meepo in now, though.
Yeah, he's on a hunt of his own. But again, can't find anything with this Shadow Blade. They're so desperate. Liquid, you can see a very clear game plan, especially with the Shadow Blade on Liquid. They want to try and split C9 up as much as possible and get these occasional pickoffs with an overwhelming amount of damage. But now Matu may have been caught. He does have the Song of Siren. He's baiting right now. He wants Miracle to be able to come in and get one of these weaker kills. But Matu, oh no, he doesn't have it in time. He gets taken out by Ace. Now GH is going to be the next target. He has a track on him, so he's going to die. Miracle now with no longer having a clear escape mechanism is going to have to use his Shadow Blade to try and get away. Fortunately, C9 not having the vision there on their 2 cores.
Oh, same as a sentry. Not going to get right.
Man, I thought Matu's Song of Siren was already up, but he needed a few more seconds. That's rough.
Yeah, those are key kills. Take the Naga out for a little while. Find a couple extra pick-off bounties, TPing to the shrine, and will immediately go on Mind Control, but perhaps not the result he was hoping for with that TP in. Enigma's mech is coming to perhaps save his life, and
Hester Joe gives the heal now. There goes the shrine, and he absolutely could, but the Orchid's going to come in first. Baby Knight has the control there. Mind Control, they need a little bit more, and that's where the Black Hole comes in. Sonic Wave will be held on to for now.
Oh, Korea. Is Miracle... No, it's there. It doesn't look like it. May just be going for the kills and pickoffs. That Weaver's being so annoying with the split push. In my mind, using a Black Hole there is fine. They don't need it to push. It's much more about just killing these split pushes than it is having a Black Hole to push with. The Ace with the Aegis is more than enough.
Miracle, make up your mind, homie. he couldn't decide. He's like, Courier or Rise, Courier or Rise. Doesn't end up getting either. Now maybe he can get Rise. His problem is Rise has actually got enough HP to survive through the combination. So if he's not careful, he needs
he's got an Io coming in now.
Yeah.
I know we have the Shadow Blade damage.
There we go. The physical damage, that's a prerequisite. All right, Shrine's going to go down. First one.
Doesn't look like they'll go for the high ground push off of the Sages. I think they'd rather just try and find a fight or some kind of a scrappy brawl where they can just have Meepo go in first and force Tiny like to use a combo or even like an IO relocate save and find a few additional kills. But Ace is in position top, and okay, that is a quick, fast kill.
Man, these kills on the mind control, because we said we needed him to be an aggressor and we needed him to make use of his mobility, especially against this Meepo, never to be caught and to be playing in Cloud9's face, but he has been caught a number of times. It looks like Miracle's going to try and set up on Baby Knight with this combination. The toss forward, damage is barely enough. Now they can catch Rise as well, as Matu and GH were set near that tier 1 tower. Noya's coming in with Hesta Joe and Ace thinking they can fight this one, but there goes the Song of Siren. Now, if they bring more... No, they're not gonna fight into that. Ace is still too big, and he has that Aegis. Even with the numbers advantage, Liquid don't feel comfortable with it.
That is that fight, or not even fight. That pick off there is like the prime example of where I'm not a fan of Baby Knight's build this game.
Oh, misses the avalanche a little bit, but can they still go on Ace? They've got him low. He just lost the Aegis. The swap into the stun. Nice play from Kuro, getting the distance needed for the disable. Now they go for more. Hesta Joe up next with mind control. Shikuching on in. They get the wisp balls. Wait, no, the relocate back. That's not what she wanted to do, GH. Lit mind control. Go for this one. Miracle is still going to be able to close that gap. Gets a combination onto him. They're playing a little bit scared, though. Afraid of maybe the Sonic Wave, as Queen of Pain has come in and tried to go for Miracle with the Orchid onto Kuro, but now that silence is gone. He's going to be able to hit the stun, followed up by the Insnare. Can Matu do this? Sonic Wave will finish off Kuro, but Matu gets a bigger kill in that Queen of Pain. Matumba Man will get out. What a big turnaround. A nasty engagement that Team Liquid, in and out, are able to find multiple pickoffs.
I mean, that right there is the biggest downside of Meepo as a hero. You snowball, you get really far ahead. One kill, suddenly you've given away a 1,000 gold streak, and he has an 80-second respawn time as well, because he's level 22 at 21 minutes in the game. That's ridiculous. More than a level a minute? That is an absurd rate of experience gain. And he's suddenly put on the sidelines, and that's a big dent in C9's aggression. I think C9 are going to have to look at that next Aegis as looking to close out this game. They do not want this game to drag. Talk about Meepo trying to end games around the 25-minute mark, and we are approaching that point. Tiny's just getting a lot of free picks. I mean, Miracle's played very well. Definitely definitely worthy of some props there, but I feel like the itemization on the Queen of Pain has enabled Miracle to find much easier kills. And Cloud9 have just been a bit too split up and presented too many opportunities for him, but they do seem to know where he is right now. Yeah.
But they don't see him. He slides on through. The dust is going to come in too late. And the Shadow Blade pickup has done so much for Miracle. You know, it's funny because I felt like Cloud9 were doing very well for themselves, preventing the pickoffs early on. They seemed to have a pretty ironclad defense for the most part, and then as Liquid kind of kicked up the tempo, they got more and more frantic with their movement all over the map. It seems like C9 lost some of their vigilance in protecting themselves against these ganks.
Yeah. And Miracle's like positioning, he's always like on the enemy side of the map, like behind towers. Like it's these kind of places where you're just not expecting him to be, and you're not really scouting out those areas. Like you talk about the Bounty Hunter being very good for the 5-man push. He wants to be on the enemy side of the map scouting. He doesn't want to be posturing himself defensively or keeping tabs of the Tiny, nor can he because of the constant Shadowblade used to move around the map. And perhaps we see like a fast gem pickup on someone like Noya just so he can roam around and figure out exactly where Miracle is, because right now he is completely destroying them through his movement.
They force the rotations bottom lane. They even throw out a dust just to see if Bounty Hunter's around. I thought maybe they'd go for this Meepo at top, but they want some extra help. Now Matu's here, so surely with the relocate in, they can actually kill Ace. He's going on to mind control, but first he gets the time-lapse off. So now C9 in some serious trouble. Ace trying to get out with one of his Meepos, but the other ones, I don't think they're going to be able to poof out in time. One of us ensnared, and there it is. The the pickoff they needed. They force the rotations bottom, find Ace at top. They're going to lose GH most likely. Kuro actually coming in, trying to lend his buddy a helping hand, but it's just going to be 2 supports that to die. And that is a lot considering the track kills that also come into play because of that one. It would have been so much sweeter just to let GH die and be the sacrificial
Good call not
lamb.
to bring Miracle back in. It was one of those scenarios where
True.
you're like, all right, we killed the Meepo, we can bring the Tiny back in, but no, there's a black hole waiting for you. And the Queen of Pain Orchid, the tracks, it would have been a lot of kills going the way. Miracle just out of range of that dust.
Gives him a little bit of a love tap, but Miracle. Shuriken is going to be able to catch him out. Sonic Wave with the Orchid. Still not enough burst damage, though. Miracle will end up going down in the end, though.
Dang. Gets punished for the cocky play. Like, he's trying to just go for some style points there. There wasn't really any positive outcome for that. Just casual right-click blink away, and, well, the negative outcome was there, and that was giving away his life. Good news is the Meepo has been dead for, like, 3 of the last 5 minutes of this game. I feel like Meepo's been dead. Died around the 21-minute mark, and died again now. That's, like, 3 minutes of downtime. At the key stage of the game for Cloud9, Meepo has been dead for more than half of it. Like that is a big problem for them.
Another pickoff like that, and Liquids, they take over the game, but potentially take Roshan away from Cloud9, which you said is a very important item for Meepo to be able to finish out the game, go high ground by 25 minutes.
Yeah, I think if Meepo dies one more time, it could be game over, but Cloud9 are going to just secure Meepo himself the Aegis before any more shenanigans or problems come their way. So, going to be a pretty safe Roach for them. Perhaps off of this, Baby Knight's got the money for a BKB, so I don't see any reason to save the buyback. And the only item that they're close to missing is that Sheep Stick on Meepo, which might be worth considering waiting for. Have that Blink Hex potential to find a quick pick.
Oh, they've seen Miracle. He just ran into a counter ward, now has tracked up. Ace comes in, big magic burst damage, and GH couldn't save him in time, so probably going to get an extra kill. GH, unless Naga Siren's going to come in. Are you going to help him out, Matu, or are you going to leave him to die? Let's see. He's getting close. That should be the tether into the sleep. Now the TP's away. Everyone's good, but still, loss of the Tiny. Fortunately, Song of Siren is level 3, so it'll be up
No
soon.
Octarine, though, so...
That's true.
Could be dangerous. Mind Control doesn't have Deso, so he's not really posing a split push threat at top as far as taking a Rax here. If they want to force the high ground, this is 20 seconds, no Tiny, and even a bit longer without that sleep, so...
He's going to go back and defend with one of his Meepos, push back the creep wave. And they actually brings all his Meepos over.
Yep. Has got the travels, so can quickly get back to the mid lane if he wants to, but...
Yeah, it seems like
does suggest that they're not going for that high ground play. That very small window would... I think it's one of those things where Cloud9 don't want to try and rush things because that's where they've been punished. But they have found consecutive pickups on Tiny, and it finally feels like they've caught wind of how Miracle's playing very deep on their side of the map, and they've finally set up traps for him. They've had sentry wards. They've managed to actually scatter his movements through the river, and that's been crucial as far as finding ways to kind of cement a lead for themselves.
C9 dealing with the constant Radiance illusions being spammed out at them. Fortunately, they've got the Sustain Meister here with Heista Joe, the Crimson Guards, and
the
Mech.
Bounty too.
Yeah, Pipe on the Bounty. I was looking for that. So, Liquid, they are bringing all their heroes. They're going to try and fight this one out. How do they play this? Do it go for a swap on one of the Meepos? Try and quickly isolate it and bring it down? Do they try and target Hesta Joe? Make sure there's no initiation?
I like the idea of taking out the Enigma first. That black hole is a big problem for them if they try and focus Meepo.
They're poking at C9, but they are remaining full HP, not granting Liquid any real opportunities here, quickly killing the illusions. Mind Control's going to come in from the back lines, get the swarm out onto those Meepos. They're going to stop, take out the bugs. That does kind of delay their retreat and brings them lower. But Liquid still not feeling good with going for the Aegis hero. They're going to actually get Baby Knight out of that one. GH, he's going to immediately be Scythe of Ice, though. No opportunity for relocate. He was using it, too. The swap goes down, but Miracle's still slowed down. A Song of the Siren goes out from Matumba Man. That'll save both Kuro's life as well as Miracle's. And they also have the buyback now on GH to make sure the Miracle's a fighting force once again. Goes for Ace, but he misses. Ace gets away with the poof just in time and keeps that Aegis intact for another 2 minutes.
That's crucial. Now they've got another opening to go high ground when respawns. Miracle just keeps finding these openings. This is where I talked about like the draft advantage for Cloud9. Liquid are going to have to outplay them, and that's what. I mean, there's been a few missteps here and there from Miracle, but for the most part, Liquid as a team have found great moments to outplay Cloud9, deal with the agents, and keep themselves in this game.
Noya, he actually gets in the way of Liquid, who are chasing down Joe, but now that gives time for Ace to be back into the play, gets mind control, locked in with the ensnares, is going to be able to find Matumba Man too. They need something to save him. Miracle comes in, looks for the toss back, doesn't get it, but the Song of Siren is up. Cloud9 did not have the disables to be able to stop that one, so another get out.
Might die to the illusions. Okay, Meepo will bail him out.
Alright, there we go. Baby Knight
suddenly
just not having the impact.
Yeah, I feel like his one thing he needed to do this game is just stay alive. And the Orchid, yeah, it found him like one kill maybe here or there, but if he just gone straight Agonist, like Ag's BKB, like that to me is a totally fine build. Even getting, like, I wouldn't even care if he'd gone like a Hood or himself this game. Just anything to stay alive as a Quap is what you've got to do against a Tiny. Like, Meepo is going to do all the damage you need. The rest of the team just has to stay there and beat bodies to protect him and get their spells off. And that's, like, there's fights where Enigma hasn't been able to get his spells off because he gets bursted, but more often than not, Baby Knight's been the one getting bursted as well. And I think just kind of being tunnel visioned on just going for this cookie cutter standard Quap. It's like, oh, I'm playing Quap, you know, you get the Orchid, you get a BKB if you need one, and I think that's really backfired for Baby Knight.
Baby Knight does not realize how close to death he is. If he runs into this Shadow Blade double damage Tiny, he will get bursted again and again. But Miracle, fortunately for Baby Knight, doesn't actually run into him during the right times. The Aegis is going to expire, but Cloud9, seen this from a couple times today now. The smoke up as the Aegis expires, looking to get aggressive with the enemy team maybe letting up their guard just a bit. GH is going to be spotted out here. Shuriken onto Miracle. There goes an Avalanche. Sonic Wave doesn't actually catch him, but the Black Hole will. Now the swap stops a Black Hole, looking for the relocate out, but that one's immediately stopped by a Malefice. Excellent play there from Joe. Now they've caught Kuro as well. They get the two supports, even if they can't get Miracle himself.
Yeah, they'll get the creep wave pushing up as well. Only one buyback on those two supports. See how much time and space Naga Siren can look to create. Is pressuring this bottom lane, but Meepo, one of the best heroes in the game, probably the best at dealing with split push. Even better than something like an Ember Spirit, able to just send his Meepos back there and just transport himself from mid to bottom, back to mid at will. Don't think the Weaver and the Naga can pose a big enough kill threat as well to punish those Meepos in bottom lane. They're already back mid. With no glyph, I don't think Liquid can defend this. They can try and initiate and get some kills though.
Song up, BKB immediately activated by Baby Knight as the Song gets out of range, and Cloud9 will take that melee Rax. Weavers come back in a lane here. But Liquid, it seems like they were caught a little bit off guard by how quickly Cloud9 were able to push. If they were going to give up that Rax, oh, Liquid, they try and jump forward, but now Miracle gets turned around by the Scythe of Ice. Here comes that big burst damage. Curl bails him out once again with the swap. Mind control going for one of the Meepos in the back lines, can't lock him down, pops a time lapse, but he's immediately ensnared up, and there's no saving hero now. Miracle comes in, tries to finish off Ace. They can't save Mind Control, but they will get Ace, and they'll get Noya as well. He gets the invis off, but an Avalanche will cover him in shards. GH giving Miracle a little bit of a speed boost, seeing if they can actually catch Baby Knight. They get him with a blink toss. Echo Saber hits aren't quite enough to bring Baby Knight down. He'll blink away and get out. Cloud9, they got the mid lane of Rax, yes, but it is getting later and later into this game. Miracle now has an Axe.
Yeah, that's one of those Raxes where it's like, well, you got the Rax, but is it too late of a Rax? It's kind of very borderline right now. The one Rax advantage against the Naga Tiny is not really going to be problematic for Liquid to deal with. The Ags, the Naga illusions, they've got plenty of wave clear, and it's going to come down to Cloud9 finding some key kills. Once again, like that Rax very much set off, even though it was just supports, it just gives you this numbers advantage where suddenly Liquid are kind of trying to split push bottom. They're not really set up to defend, and you're able to just overwhelm them and take advantage of the fact that also the glyph was on cooldown. Meepo just pushing and breaking those buildings a bit too fast to be responded to. God, Miracle is so aggressive with his position. Again, right outside the tier 3 towers, is looking for a kill. Doesn't find Rise, but see the danger that he poses there.
It seems to want to play these constant numbers advantages and turn it into sort of a constant. where this narrative, a Miracle is always finding a kill, finding a pickoff, always making it so Cloud9 are down a man. But C9 are grouped up. They're going to lose a lot of map control because of this, and it's going to take them a while to get these lanes under control. They may never be able to do it. A double damage Tiny beats down the tier 2 tower. They get a small initiation on him, force him back as Ace now revives. They get the track onto him. Maybe they can actually catch Miracle. C9 is looking for Matu, though. They know that's an important hero. The BKB activated. Oh, no, it turns against him. Now, Miracle just beats him to a pulp. They get the stun onto Rise in the back lines. Noya, as well as Ace, are covered up in Swarm Bugs. Ace gets off a poof and gets a lot of damage onto Matu. I think he expected Matu to try and get out, but now Matu's covered up in the black hole. They've caught mind control as well. Ace has actually turned this fight properly. Gets out with a lower health Meepo, while the rest of the Meepos take down Miracle. GH, who used the relocate earlier in trying to help out with the black hole, is going to be sent right back from whence he came into the track. Liquid lose 3.
Dangerous. No buyback on Tiny. Naga preemptively buying back, trying to scare away a push, saying like, all right, maybe if I buy back, they won't even go for the push because they'll be scared of the Tiny buyback. But Cloud9 know Tiny just picked up the axe, so they probably can make an assumption that there's at least like a 50% chance he might not have it, so it's worth testing the waters here. Because without Tiny, I think this buyback, this defense is very difficult on the high ground. They need his burst damage to pose a threat. It was like him bursting down the Quap during some of the earlier pushes, being able to burst down an Enigma. That's where Liquid really struggles. So when one of those kind of key heroes gets taken out early on, and see what Matu can do to delay things. He may just have to casual sleep. I don't think this is to set up an initiation. I think this is just to buy time.
Mind
Blitz
control
is luckily still available as well.
He might be able to get a little damage on the tier 3s while all this is happening, but Ace is going to quickly eat up this melee Rax, and the Tiny is just not going to be up fast enough to save that building, but maybe they can still catch something. Kuro's getting in position to throw out the swap. Gets the stun onto Ace, but Ethereal Blade from one of the other Meepos helps saves him, poofs backwards. BKBs on both Hestajoe and Baby Knight. Hestajoe's going to be the one caught in the ensnare. Miracle, he knows he needs more. They've lost 2 melee Raxes. They can't afford to leave out this fight without multiple kills. They've got a double kill onto one. They took out Hestajoe. They try to go for relocate forward to find the rest, but Ace is already out.
Seeing Cloud9, they're kind of actually now becoming what they were in game 1, a cooldown dependence. And this black hole threat is becoming more and more important for winning the team fights for them. Being able to stop the sleep coming up, being able to lock down the Tiny. That last fight with the black hole caught just 2 heroes, but it was also done at a time where there wasn't a Venge swap. It had already been used earlier on in the fight. So the BKB black hole, very potent. And I imagine the next time he wants to go for is a Lincoln Sphere, because then he can go for that black hole even when swap is available, as well as the ensnare. So if he can get a Lincoln Sphere, they'll have to throw both those 2 spells like at the same time to cancel. And chances are a Naga may be caught in the black hole. So we'll see what Liquid can do. They want to strike back with this Aegis.
Yeah, they're going to need that big team fight pickup, because Miracle is now going to threaten a lane of Rax of his own here. Takes the tier 3, pushes straight for the range, thinking that they can just get this ranged Rax and maybe out. GH will cover him potentially with a relocate, or Matumba Man with the song. Miracle still needs a little bit of help, though. He is going to lose that Aegis, and they've actually just TP'd out with multiple heroes. Both the saving heroes are now gone, and Miracle is going to have to try and find his own way out of this one. Gets a blink out, has Shadow Blade or Blink Dagger up in 5 more seconds, but Baby Knight, does he juke this one out? No, he tries to hide in the trees, gets the stun onto Baby Knight, buys himself a little bit more time for the blink. He gets up, Baby Knight blinks to the wrong side, he juked left, and Miracle, he's hiding a little bit farther up in the trees. He has a TP in his backpack. He's good.
He did have buyback, so it wouldn't have been game over, but how does he juke that? That is some insane play and composure in what looks like an impossible position for him to survive. That was a really good call from Baby Knight. Like that was the best play he's made all game, and makes up for some of, I think, his earlier shortcomings. Going for that BKB burst onto the Tiny, knowing that Liquid's trying to song TP out, and once everyone's song TP'd out, he's respawning out of the Aegis completely alone, so Miracle somehow outplays the entire Cloud9 team to get out of there still.
Cloud9,
clutch play from him.
They could have had 2 heroes with no buyback on the side of Liquid, and that would have been the beginning of the end in just 3 minutes time. Anytime during that 3 minutes, like, they force a fight and win it, the game's probably over. But
that's just the thing. Forcing Miracle's buyback at this point is half the battle, and well, yeah. Gonna find Baby Knight
with a double damage. Yeah, a wave of terror on top of that too. Physical damage is not
Oh boy.
enough. Jesus.
Maybe time
31.
to split push, because I don't know about fighting and defending into this Tiny.
GH has been found.
Okay. That's a useful pickoff. Makes this Tiny not quite as scary. And it means if you kill him and bring him down, he will be permanently dead. We may see something like an IO buyback if Tiny dies, though, and you could relocate both back into the fight, go for some kind of game-winning play.
Miracle. Now Ace. He's going to burst him down almost. They actually get the song, but they don't have any BKB plays this time around with the Queen of Pain dead for 30 seconds. The sleep TP out will be successful.
Cloud9 are defending their high ground very well. It's been some of like their middle of the map play that has been a bit more questionable, where they're split up, giving a lot of pickoffs to Miracle, but when they've gone for these high ground defenses, even their high ground pushes have been a lot more polished. And right now they put themselves in a position where they buy time for the Queen of Pain respawn. Fortunately, Miracle does get away, and they're not going to be able to force out any kind of a buyback from him, but still, I'd give them like a very slight advantage with where this game currently stands. Mostly because of the Enigma factor. Like, this black hole is going to be probably the deciding factor as this game goes on, and if he can farm a Lincoln Sphere, which he's not far away from, there's not going to be any good counters to Hestejo.
When do we start getting late BKBs on Liquid? Ever? Is the black hole just too much? Is there too much hold and pure damage?
I don't think against Meepo, BKB doesn't offer a whole lot. If he gets the Blink Hex on you, you die fast, and the Geo Strike slow is kind of what's going to cripple you. Like, it doesn't necessarily, I don't think it helps Tiny fight into the Meepo really at all.
He's more reliant on the Wisp anyway. BKB doesn't really work.
I don't really think this is a BKB game for them so much. For other Cloud9 heroes, it could be, but I mean, they're two cores in Enigma. Quap already have one. Meepo's another BKB hero, so I think CM BKB could be quite good. Around that level 3 freezing field, you could see that become a high impact spell later on in the game.
True.
It's a pretty big slow, both movement and attack speed, that Tiny Naga has to kind of fight into.
It's another hero that can charge the song, right?
Yeah, and they're going to be so tunnel visioned on stopping this black hole that there's a good chance Ryze can kind of go unnoticed in the side with like a BKB freezing field and then get off a lot of damage.
Ace shows up right underneath Miracle and his Shadow Blade. All these illusions are causing problems to the other heroes. The C9 Hestejo runs to Ace for cover. Liquid, are they going to try and force this one outside their base? With this many heroes, it seems like a bad call, and yeah, they're going to back away with most of them. Miracle's, of course, going to do Miracle things. He's going to go in deeper, see if he can find that extra pick off somewhere else.
As you do.
Yeah.
As you do. Not sure if they have another gem available in their shop. It might be on cooldown, because it does feel like Cloud9 really need to rebuy one as soon as possible. Like, late game Dota against any kind of invis, gem just becomes a necessity. You don't want to rely solely on sentry wards. Bounty Hunter having a gem seems like the ideal scenario, but he wants his Hex first, and that's a big late game pickup for a support bounty. That is some decent time on him. And definitely where the BKBs you mentioned become more appealing.
All right, there goes Ryze. Not anymore. Ace. He's still good to defend top. The rest of C9 trying to threaten this mid lane push, but it's coming in on all sides. It's only Ace who's able to push out just a little bit in the bottom lane, but that's already being cut by some of Matu's illusions.
With this butterfly,
the song entrance?
They're
thinking here. They're thinking if they can get the quick melee racks, but all they're going to do is force the glyph. They're going to TP out on Matu. They do have the track onto the Tiny. They also get a lot of damage onto the tier 3 at the same time. They are going to be able to get at least Matu there.
Their
melee racks almost goes down.
Benj is trying to suicide for it, and
yeah, they get it.
Weaver. Meanwhile, Tiny's back in bottom.
All right, they're just going to try and force Megas here with the death on the Naga side. They're going to be able to get the range racks at bottom. Miracle's already taken out 1 and 2. There goes Megas. Liquid, in a swift maneuver, despite losing Matumpa Man, are going to be able to force Megas here, except for, oh shit, there's a melee rack still, and they've caught GH in the bottom. Turn, Miracle fighting up against a nice use of the Ethereal Blade, able to save the Meepo that's low HP. Miracle now tries to hit a different Meepo, goes for another one. He needs a little bit more. He gets it in the end. Miracle is tanking enough. A buyback onto GH to help out Miracle here with the Scythe of Ice going in. They have a relocate back, but he needs 5 more seconds. They're going to try and kill Miracle first. Oh, they're trying to burst him down. Couple more seconds. GH gets him out. They couldn't go. They tried to go for Miracle first. They thought they could actually burst him down instead of killing GH.
This is like the Cloud9 late game panic sinking in. Like that IO was such a free kill for them, but like you say, they thought they had Miracle. Like in their minds, they could get that kill. The butterfly with the evasion, as well as just having 3k HP, meant he could survive through it all. And boy, oh boy, the Cloud9 suddenly find themselves in like a what the hell just happened kind of position.
They went from like.
He solo black holed the Weaver. I really do not. He buys the refresher post this, and he actually doesn't go for the link, because I like this given the state of this game right now, but I don't know about using that black hole for a Weaver.
It's going to be pretty rough now. Mataba Man going to split up the map, slowly but surely chip away at this melee racks, and he may even be able to overpower the regen at this point with the amount of illusions and the amount of damage they're outputting. Miracle, he could always jump in and just suicide on it, but he does not have, or he does have buyback. It's Matu and GH who do not, and neither does Kuro, just due to gold.
And the threat of the refresher is probably enough for the Tiny not to just go for the high ground. The black hole's on cooldown for now, but you're like, okay, has Enigma used the refresher? Or are we up for a potential double black hole soon? Like, this Hestejo Enigma is going to be a big problem, and ideally the #1 target you want to go on, just because that can be the game-winning play for Cloud9. One team fight where you kill the Naga and then you just go all in for the through.
Man, I thought Cloud9 had actually dealt really well with that strategy. That was a cool attempt, right? By Liquid, they sleep, they catch all these heroes, and then they just swarm in on the side lanes. But they had Glyph, they caught Matu, and I was like, damn, they did it. But then the push still happened in the side lanes, and they're just left with 1 melee racks away from Megas.
This just feel like limited options as far as Cloud9 go now. They are the ones constantly on the high ground defense. That lone Rax cannot be left alone. Kind of mentioned Miracle can just fight his way through the backdoor protection if he wants to. There's still no Glyph even, so it's really just the potential black hole that he's worried about. But the other counterplay for that is that relocate save. If you can time that right, you can pull your Tiny out of there. But I think Liquid are looking for a jump onto Meepo or Enigma so they don't have to fight that black hole.
Butterfly activated around the side. There is a counter ward, though. Miracle trying to use some of the nighttime vision to be able to find a quick entrance here, but it looks like they're going to bounce out here and try and get mind control on the side here. Noya's been spotting him out. Baby Knight may have the burst damage, or maybe not. They're actually going into the mid lane. They've got that melee racks. Ace is trying to finish him off, but Miracle already gets the Force Staff away, and now mind control is actually turning against Baby Knight. Baby Knight tries to get the blink out. BKB activated will keep him alive, but Liquid, they've already done the damage needed. They don't have buybacks on some of these heroes, so they don't risk anything. They take that melee racks, they force Megas, and get out rather cleanly. Nobody gets picked off there.
Megas is not game over, but it's game very difficult now, as I don't think you can just sit back totally if you're Cloud9. I mean, there's a potential Aegis if Liquid really want to play safe and pick that up for themselves. They don't really have... I guess Miracle could drop like his Echo Saber for it, but these lanes are going to be pushing in never-endingly. Like, the Naga illusions just go to all 3 lanes. It's not just Naga illusions, there's Mega Creeps. You're going to be defending for days. So at some point, Cloud9 have to make an aggressive play. And the problem was, when they made that aggressive play out of their base, they had to leave a couple of heroes behind, and it was just the Queen of Pain and the Bounty Hunter with his Hex trying to go on the Weaver, but Weaver had the survivability to escape and survive thanks to the Butterfly more than anything.
All right, Ace's in-game items, he's been shifting it up a little bit. He now has the Bloodthorn. He was thinking about the Heart earlier, but the Bloodthorn, he thinks, will be enough for them to be able to tear apart the Weaver, Naga, or Tiny if they could just get on top of them.
Oh, double damage. This is like... I was about to say, I don't think Liquid even have to fight this. They could just go for the base trade, and with the double damage, Tiny's like, yo, Io, where you at? Let's go for some tier 4s.
That's exactly what they're going to go for. Roshan is going to be a quick pickup here for Ace and the boys.
Aegis on Hestejo, possibly. Yep.
Yeah, and Cheese for one of our supports. The push now comes in from Liquid at bottom lane, but Ace is already back in place.
Miracle's now gone back to the BKB against like the Maleficent Midnight Pulse. He's probably just thinking like, I can just secure some of these buildings, or at least force a black hole to be thrown through BKB hitting buildings.
Mind Control maintaining his vigilance here on the left-hand side, while the Tiny Wisp at bottom. Looks like they're going to try and go on Ace while the rest of his team is in middle. They don't quite get a full-on swap initiation or anything like that, so Miracle just takes a Shrine and outs, seeing if they can force the members of C9 that are mid back to the base.
Bit of money for everyone, but not too big a deal. And yeah, this is going to be a slow death by 1,000 cuts if Cloud9 don't find some kind of opening soon. Problem is the buybacks are going to be the big problem. Like, you win a fight off of a black hole, well, suddenly Liquid have everyone alive in those that black hole.
Rise, a Glimmer Cape, surprisingly enough, is actually keeping him alive, but he finally does get scouted out. Now Kuro's going to be threatened here. Has to Joe moving forward. Baby Knight actually blinking up. They're trying to make this work, but now Tiny's jumped onto Ace in the bottom lane, but he's actually getting turned around on. Bounces away. Ace is going to send all of his meepos up to the farther top lane, while the rest of C9 have to back away from that mid engagement. Now Liquid back away from bottom. Managed to blink out from Kuro ahead of that Shadow Strike while going in deep as Mind Control picks up the kill onto Noya, allowing Miracle a slim bit of time to hit on that tier 4 tower. Bit of damage done as he bounces back with another Blink Dagger. Now Liquid, Wolves closing in on all sides against Cloud9 members. As to Joe, goes for the BKB, attempt to blink out, but can't actually get anything here with a swarm on him. This is going to be a BKB wasted. He does have the refresher to use, as well as that first black hole. Baby Knight attempts to get a hold onto Miracle. Once again, a blink out, no holds. All the blink daggers remaining up. Mega Creep streaming in, and tier 4's under duress. Has to Joe, hoping to be able to tank most of this up. Kuro takes his opportunity to jump onto him, forcing that Aegis down, and they do get the pop onto GH God. But now Liquid have used the Song of Siren, holding things as in. Cloud9 have to deal with the Mega Creeps first, while Liquid try and recover. Baby Knight almost dies to Megas. Now Hesta Joe's going to be jumped on by Miracle. Managed to burst him down. Buyback is up, and he still has those black holes ready to go. The Scythe of Ice in, but one of Ace's meepos are actually quite low. He has to get away from these Megas. They're too much of a threat. Baby Knight doesn't have the level 25, so the Blade Mail isn't going to save him. The black hole comes in, but is it too late? He gets a refresher. The swap off. He needs another big black hole, but he can't quite get it. Matu trapped on the right-hand side. Slowed down. Here comes an avalanche and another black hole, but it catches nothing but Megas. Ace, he's battling up against Matu and Miracle. He's actually getting the damage done. He's killed Matu. He's killed Miracle. Somehow Cloud9 with a one-man, 2 black holes have only managed to kill 2 cores. Liquid have the buybacks necessary, but Cloud9 are going to hold for now against the Mega Creeps.
This game will go on, and I don't know how they do it, but even without the black holes, they managed to pull that fight. I'm just watching Hester that entire time. He's going to beetle on him. He's surrounded by Mega Creeps with the Aegis. He was trying so damn hard to find a black hole opening, but Liquid were just split up, positioning such that nothing was available. And in the end, it's just Ace on that Meepo having what he needs to continue fighting. And Ace didn't even have to buy back. He's still got 2 lives to play around, which is probably one of the more impressive things. He's swapping out more items, now goes back for a Silver Edge. This is, and I was wondering if the Queen of Pain would get, just because that Craggy on the Tiny is so difficult for him to deal with. Now he can Shadow, he can Silver Edge in.
Oh, they're actually going to go buyback here. This is an opportunity, though, for Cloud9 with buybacks being used like this.
I really like the plays available to Meepo now with this Silver Edge. Like Silver Edging in on the Tiny, breaking that Craggy, and then you can Bloodthorn him to get rid of the evasion. You can Hex him as well. He can basically disable all of Tiny's itemization.
Baby Knight has already blown the cheese, and again, Mind Control goes for him, bringing him down to half health. Kuro's been sitting in the trees this whole entire time, but Cloud9 say enough is enough. They're gonna force it, and here comes the relocate. Liquid are just gonna try and dance around them. They go straight for the tier 4s. Mind Control easily has enough damage to be able to beat down these tier 4s rather quickly and go for the throne. Hesta Joe is left alone against this to try and put a stop to all of this, but it's just not gonna happen. The glyph goes down. Song of Siren on the other side, so Cloud9 aren't getting any damage done to the buildings. Mass TP's back. Mind Control's gonna try and finish this up with the help of Miracle and the BKB. Clean Liquid finally do it. They finally close out this game 2 against Cloud9, an ultimate rat affair. They get it done in true fashion. Alliance would be proud.
Yeah, Cloud9 made them work for it in the end with all that Mega Creeps, but yeah, it was Liquid who really had to scrap their way into this game. I mean, it was a very